What's up, everybody? Welcome to a yet unnamed podcast. This is going to be the pilot. I wanted to make something that was more akin to my video essays, but in podcast format. With me, I have the one, the only, the doctor himself, Ben Watson. How are you today, Ben?
Yes. Hello. Doing well.
Of course.
Dr. Watson makes me feel the need to have my
We were just talking about, before this, Alan Rickman. You kind of came up with like an Alan Rickman, like, hello.
Hello.
This is my kitty.
Full disclaimer, not a doctor. But, you know.
Not a doctor, not actually a PhD.
If you have Windows before 7, if you search Dr. Watson, I am on your computer, just so you know.
Spying. So, this podcast features some of my beautiful guests. Right now, it's Ben Watson. There's been a thing going around on Twitter right now. There's top 10 games to get to know you. And I kind of wanted to do that, and it kind of felt like it flowed with my format already. So I'm here with Ben Watson, and I'm also going to do my top 10. We're going to see how that works out, because some of the stuff may be stuff I already reiterated. But you know, I'm gonna kind of workshop it. Like I said, this is a pilot. This will make it a little bit easier to output videos. Maybe I'll put this out, once a month. Or maybe I'll do, bi-weekly, depending on how easy it is just to get together and do. But without further ado, I believe I'm going to start with my pick, and in no particular order. I have Bloodborne today. So Bloodborne kind of came out at a time where I just it was one of those things where you have a game that you feel like you need at the time. Bloodborne really fit that niche because, like, my friends would talk about Dark Souls all the time, and I just wanted to have that satisfaction. I didn't get it. I didn't get that idea of, oh, this is a challenging game, but it's supposed to be challenging. And like I said in my video, it taught me how to persevere and just keep going. Because eventually, I fell in love with this game. I fell in love with its aesthetic. I fell in love with the Lovecraftian background. I fell in love with the combat. It is still one of my favorite PS4 games and one of my favorite games of all time. It was one of those things that I just meshed with. Do you have experience with Bloodborne at all, Ben?
I've never played Bloodborne. I have played Dark Souls, the original, and then 2.
Yeah.
And a little bit of 3.
What do you think of the Souls series overall? Like,
so honestly, I'm 100% with your memory lane video of Dark Souls. 100%. That's exactly where I was at with it too.
Yeah.
Like, up until then, it was like, when something didn't go right in a game, it was frustrating, right? And that was most games. But with Dark Souls, it really was like a big turning point in, like, really persevering through all that hardship and figuring it out and learning that failure is okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I just, it was one of those things where I just got the PS4. 2015 was such a hell of a year anyways. That was the year where I kind of had 3 Game of the Years in Bloodborne, in Witcher 3, and in Metal Gear Solid 5. And I think the gameplay of all those is so well done. But it's just the one that sticks with me. Every time I see it on my dashboard, I just think I could go back and play through it again. Maybe try to get the platinum trophy, which is hella hard to do. But I don't know, that world just keeps calling back to me in a way that The Witcher and Metal Gear Solid 5 really have it. And it's kind of just as like before in 2015, I was like, oh yeah, these are like tied for first place, but like really Witcher 3 took it. And I'm like, I still feel that a little bit, but I feel less connected with the world of The Witcher and more with Bloodborne in general because of it's such a unique world of Victorian and love, like I said, Lovecraftian aesthetic that isn't very much seen, especially in that realm of the Soul series, and it's it was just gothic enough to not displace your, you were just you're uncomfortable every single time you walk down a hallway. I mean, the various monsters were just all sorts of disgusting, but in such a great way. And personally, I love the game so much. Like, it was just what, again, like this one, I'm gonna start off real simple. I mean, I'm not gonna get as super deep as I have been some of my other videos, but it's just like, I think that this game really touched me in a way that no other game has, in a way that I was challenged, but I accepted that challenge. And I think that helped me as a person be like I've said in the video, where it helped me as a person become more open to things and be like, oh, I don't necessarily like this genre of video games. And like I'll try it out, and there's so many of those that have happened. RTS is the big one right now that I'm like, back and forth with. Like, that's the big one that I'm not super down with still. But like, I opened me up so where I'm like, oh, turn based isn't so bad. Oh, this isn't so bad. Like, if I put more hours into it, I can find something that I love about it. Like recently I did Death Stranding, where like I had started that game and I'm like, all right, like I like this, but it's not, like sticking with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just wanted, like, I think I give games more of a chance because of games like Bloodborne. But yeah, that's what I have to say about Bloodborne. And now we're gonna move on to one Ben Watson's pick, probably the more interesting pick since he has not made a video about it. So Ben, what is a game that you would like people to know about you with Yelp?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be 100% honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time you were talking, I was like, maybe I should do this game. No, no, no.
Yep.
I'm gonna do
Yep.
this game. No, no, this game. That's a good. But I think I'm just gonna start right off with Need for Speed Most Wanted on the GameCube.
That's a great choice. Great choice.
Yeah. So that game for me, have you played that one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I haven't
So
played the
that one-
GameCube version, but I think I played the PS2 version. That was the one with the gritty cover. Yeah.
Yeah. So that game for me, like, it was like the perfect mix of like being able to like customize and free roam. Like, so
Mhm.
I love free roam. I love sandbox. I love being able to do what I want in the game. Right. That's the
Mhm.
best games are like that. And with Need for Speed Most Wanted, like, and I had previously, like, I had played like Heat and Hot Pursuit and all the other ones. And I remember, like, I went to Family Video as, like, 11-year-old me,
As you
and
do.
just picking out games. Oh yeah, as you
Mhm.
do. Most of you probably have no clue what Family Video is.
That's
That's fine.
true. Oh,
That's
that
fine.
hurts my heart. That hurts my
I
heart so much.
know.
Rental stores are so good. Like, well, Family Video is the one that's at least around. They're selling CBD to try to get around stuff, but they are the one that are still around, and that's there's a few of that have closed around me, but
Yeah. But it's
Blockbuster's
only
out. Yeah.
it's only over in the Midwest though.
Oh
Family
really?
Video.
Oh
Yeah,
really?
it wasn't a national brand.
Huh.
So,
They're able
mhm,
to keep it compact. Yeah, and like
yeah,
there's that one last Blockbuster. Um, yeah, I missed. I
yeah.
man, like, just shout out to video rental stores.
It was
Definitely,
it was 10 out of 10. It was a good ride.
yeah, definitely not one of those things where I still necessarily wish that was the way to only way to view media, but I wish they were around, like, just as an option.
Yeah, it was was definitely different. It was fun.
Yeah.
There was something magical about going to the rental store, and especially as a kid, because it's like, okay, well, you can pick out one game and one DVD,
Mm-hmm.
and or one VHS, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And,
And
and then you just feel like you feel so in control as that kid because you're walking down the DVDs and you're looking at them, you're walking down through the games and you're like, you have every choice in the world and it's your choice.
yep.
And like it's one of your first like almost acts of independence almost, because it's, you get to actually make a decision that's meaningful in a way. Um but I remember, going through, walking past all the games and I see, Need for Speed Most Wanted. I was like, okay, I play the other ones, let's check this one out. I like the racing games. So I grabbed it, rented it, put it down, and right off the bat, you know, Need for Speed games, they're all pretty much start the same way, like
Mm-hmm.
you must
Mm-hmm.
win, and
Yep.
that's every single Need for Speed. That's how they start.
Mm-hmm.
And so it started off, just like any other game. And I remember like after starting to get into it, it was like, man, you could completely customize your vehicles. You can completely free roam the world. You don't like, I mean, obviously the objective is racing and everything like that, but you don't have to. Like, there's nothing to stop you from just driving around and chilling. And I remember because you had like your heat system and everything like that, so like your car would gain a wanted level, and like so like I would drive my like main car around and like and what's funny is I don't remember what my main car was, but I do remember the other car I'm going to talk. But my main car, like I would drive it around, and it's like, we see the suspect. He's headed down. Send in the rhinos, and then all of a sudden,
You
big
said to the
giant like
rhinos.
the SWAT truck vans are just ramming into you, and it's like, and it was like so intense and so exciting, and but then all of a sudden, I roll out my Shelby GT 500, and I remember it was gray and it had black racing stripes. I just cruise
Mm.
around town with it.
You went like the gone in yeah. You went like the gone in 60 seconds route. Like,
Eleanor.
yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, and it was just for me that was like one of the first games that I've played. If not, I think that was probably the first game I played that was like you could really, just take in the world, just drive around. I would
Mm-hmm.
stop at all the red lights, and
We
I'd
all
see the
have to have
cops,
those.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you race through the streets, and it's like you get pinged for speeding, and the cop would pull you over. It's like I'll pay the $20 ticket,
Right.
whatever, my
Right.
because you get captured with my other car, and that's it. That car's gone, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
it was,
It was high
and it was
stakes.
like exactly. So it was
Yeah.
like I loved being able to like if I wanted to play risky, I could. If I wanted to let my heat cool down and just cruise around in just a little car that, yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, that was definitely like a nice like I guess like stepping stone game, I guess you could say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like from that experience, like even to this day, like I'll play GTA 5 and I'm driving around and it's just all of a sudden it's just like I just like pull up to the red light and I stop. I'm like,
You get those little nostalgia bits, like like you're eating your nostalgia fries, and you get down to a little bit, and you're like, "Oh, I remember these." You get your little bit of
oh,
nostalgia bits. You know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly, yeah. And I don't know, that's just they recreated Need for Speed Most
Mm-hmm.
Wanted, and I remember I was ecstatic. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, whip out my wallet, here's my debit card, pre-order, give it to me now.
Right.
And I get it, and I install it, and I start playing it, and I stop. It
It's
was on my
never the
PC.
same. It's
Uh,
never the same.
It was a completely different game.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play the remake at all?
I never played the remake. Honestly, the only Need for Speed games I was really into were the Underground games. I really liked
Underground was
Underground
good.
1 and 2. Um, I tried out a few of them. I think I tried out Undercover initially, and I was like, this is fun, but I just there was something about the racing games that I was just like, I'm not a cars guy, so I'm just like, it didn't really fit me. But just the like, I mean, at the time, Fast and Furious was so big, with just the Too Fast Too Furious aesthetic was overwhelming in the Underground games. And I
Oh yeah.
definitely I feel your nostalgia. Like when you're a kid in the early 2000s, you're just like, I just want to have a game that I can play on unending, and you find open world games, and some, like, for me, like, I found open world games that were just all over. Like, they were the most shit games, or they were like they were experiences that you stuck with you. That's one of the only reasons that Simpsons Hit and Run still holds such a, like, I played that at all, was because I'm like, oh, this is a little bit risky, but it's kind of Grand Theft Auto, so I could tell them, but it's Simpsons, so I could tell my parents, hey, it's Simpsons, it's not that bad. You know, at the time, obviously, Simpsons was not super controversial, and now it's not anymore at all. So, you know, like, I think there's something to those kinds of games, especially, like you said, going to a rental store and just seeing that selection. I mean, I remember some of my first experiences just cruising past all the N64 games, and, you know, I remember seeing that South Park game and being like, what the hell is this? You know, like, I mean, obviously as a kid, I wasn't like, oh, what the hell is this? And then, you know, kicked out of Blockbuster. But, you know, like, it was one of those things. I saw, like, Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22 when Goku had his blue suit. And I'm like, Goku doesn't have a blue suit, but really it was based off of GT in Japan. Like, just that nerdy shit. Like, that was the greatest thing about video stores, is like you could find so much to love about them, because there were those weird things. Like, I think we lose that with game streaming and movie streaming, where we're just like an unending selection, and we're just like, all right, like, I can play any of this at any point.
Yes, 100%. I scroll through my Steam library, and I can scroll and I can scroll and I can scroll, and I go back up and I go back up. I'm like, I don't know, you know, because it's too easy to make that selection, and there's
Right.
no, like, repercussion for, like, making the selection.
Well,
Obviously, with buying it, it's a little bit different.
Well, and combining it with the thing of, like, what I said with mine is, you know, actually putting the time into the game. If you don't have any sort of repercussions for not putting time into a game, then you aren't gonna, like, you don't want to do it, because, like, I'll boot up, like, Game Pass, like, I mean, for a lovely service, a great service, but there's some games where I'll just, like, there's some games that I'll play that I wouldn't have played otherwise, but some games I'll just jump into. I'm like, oh, I have Game Pass, so, like, I'm just gonna play this a little bit. But honestly, I think somewhat Game Pass brings a little bit frantic, because you are paying for that monthly, and you're kind of like, all right, I only have this game for a certain amount of time, so let me try to check it out.
Yeah, you know, it kind of puts a fire underneath your ass too, because it's like,
right, you only have this amount of time.
Exactly, and you want to be able to take advantage of that membership you're paying for, and to be able to, you know, do it. And that's exactly what it was like with, you know, renting a game or a movie, because it's like, okay, you have this for a week. And it's like, my goal is to beat this game in less than a week. Boom.
And it's just, yeah, that, like, I remember my mom saying, like, oh, this kid, he just beats games super fast, and now I'm just sitting here, you know, like, I have Death Stranding on my list, I have, you know, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, like, I'm just like, all these games, and I just, like, sidetracked to beat Final Fantasy VII before the remake came out. So it's just like, I have so much. I wish I could go back to those days where I'm just like, I'm beating games constantly. Like, what, you know, I'm just like, I need time, you know, like, but yeah, like, I think there's something so special about the frantic nature of, like, rental stores. And I remember just like, okay, it's time to go, but I can't decide between the games.
Yes.
And then you have to make that instant decision, and that's how some games you turn out. You're like, this is total shit, but I played it back in the day, and it has that nostalgia. Or it's the other where it's just like, I wouldn't have picked this up otherwise, and I just picked this up on a whim, and I love it. And we don't really, like, especially with storefronts that are so cluttered, you know, like, obviously, like, the Steam storefront is a big one, where you just have all these different games that are shown, and you're like, you can't tell which one is going to be worth your time or not, you know. And that's why I think a lot of people do watch YouTube and kind of get their opinions from other people, be like, okay, like, what game should I check out, you know. I know that's part of the reason that I do it. But yeah, I totally agree with you on the Most Wanted, or just Need for Speed in general. Like, there's especially, like, the soundtracks.
Oh, Don't even, I still to
Yep.
this day will open Spotify or YouTube and I'll be like, Need for Speed Underground 2
Yep.
soundtrack.
I literally did that with Skate the other day. Skate
Yes,
is like that. There's something missing about games nowadays where that they don't have this soundtrack. I mean, given there's games that have great original scores. I mean, Celeste is one that I absolutely adore that came out within the last few years. But there's just something about like listening to like Tony Hawk is like CKY is tied to Tony Hawk for me. Like I was kind of going down the street I was driving down the street the other day and just CKY, you know, the one CKY song, like you know, like that came out and I'm like, I would have otherwise turned it off because it's not a good song. It sucks. It's not a good song. But it just instantly brought me back to like just skating around in the lava factory, like like I'm like catching all those VHS tapes, you know.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, such a power nostalgia has, and with that, such a power that video games have. This is the first episode, the introductory episode of this yet untitled podcast. This will be the supplement for this will be the it's so late. My brain. This will be the supplement for Memory Lane for the time being, and that kind of my more produce videos so that I can kind of have more time to produce those and put out a really fantastic product for you guys in the coming months. But I wanted to like I just want this I really want this to be an extension of the video essays and people not to be like, oh, he's just phoning it in, because I'm not. Like, I'm trying to, you know, I want to bring something that's special for everybody just as much as those video essays are, and to kind of keep up with that and to be able to, you know, provide those video essays as a better avenue, because, you know, coming up with scripts, I've said this before in many videos, but, you know, come up with scripts monthly. Like, I have 4 scripts that I'm working on right now, and then editing and shooting it and doing it all myself it's such a hard timeline. So I was kind of doing these so I can, you know, just finish all these different Memory Lane episodes so I can just post them monthly and kind of and have a nice finished product and have time to dwell on them and not just post them to YouTube and be like, oh, well, that's it, you know. So but if you like this format, please let me know. I want to have more guests on here. Right now I have Ben, and we're gonna run down his top 10 and see what games really inspire him to be the person he is today, and to that touched him in a time in his life, you know. And like I said, hopefully we'll have some more guests on and we can keep this going, you know, and have a really cohesive podcast. I know I'm trying to figure out if I want to do. I'm rambling at this point, but I'll wrap it up. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do my own, because most of my own experiences have already been covered in the video essays. So let me know if that worked out for you, or if you're like, oh, okay, that was just a retreading. I don't know why I listened to this. So, anyways, Ben, where can they find you? Or can they find you anywhere? Do you want them to find you?
Right now, it's very hard to find me because I'm in a naming crisis.
Yes, we were just talking about this, of the gamer tag identity crisis. Yeah. So, Ben, thank you so much for joining me. As
Thanks
always,
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, until next time, I love y'all. And good night.